What's up, guys? Welcome back to the review space. In this video we compare the Nintendo DS Lite handheld system. Over here I got the white one, the DS Lite. What up? What up, DS Lite? Against the frickin' what the hell is this? The Game Boy Advance SP. That's right. It's the old school Game Boy Advance SP I've had for a while. Had this for years. But same with the DS Lite. So there they are, side to side and stuff. You know I'm sizzling. One is, I think this one's called Cobalt Blue. I don't remember exactly what it's called. Something blue. Chrome Blue or something like that. This one's the colored white DS Lite. And the reason I'm comparing both of them is they're both Nintendo handhelds, and they're both the slim version, basically, of each handheld. So these are not the original versions of each handheld. This was the light version, so kind of like a slim version, and this is like the slim version of the Game Boy Advance. The original GBA, which was the wide one, the wider version. This is the smaller version, of course. So we're going to take a look at both. Both are pretty damn good systems, in my opinion. Both really good handhelds. But as far as comparisons, which one is better? Which is the one that you should have instead of the other one? If you can only have one, which one is worth comping instead of the other one? And so this is kind of an interesting comparison, in my opinion. So let's turn both of them on. Gotta put a freaking game though in the DS Lite. For this, okay, for the Game Boy Advance SP, we're gonna play a game called Tekken. I think it's Tekken Advance right there. Tekken Advance from Namco, from the early 2000s. Basically a 3D fighting game from the Tekken series. It's like the first handheld Tekken game too. And with the game, goddamn, the Nintendo DS Lite, we're gonna have this game called 101 Explosive Mega Mix. If you've never heard of it, this is one of my favorite games because it has one of my favorite. It's basically a mini game collection. But hold on, there you go. Take it out of the packaging and shit. All right, where the hell did it go? So you insert a game at the back side over here, right behind the screen, and you put the little DS cartridge in there. Pretty cool. Pretty. It's a snug little fit, and there's like you hear a little click. You turn the bitch on. There you go. They got a little warning and all that. You gotta touch the screen to continue. There's a health safety nonsense. And there you go. We're rocking. We're rocking. Yeah. Licensed by Nintendo. And this one, of course, a GBA SP. Turn this thing on. Alright. Already there's like massive differences between the two. Obviously the DS Lite has a couple of screens. It's a dual screen, basically. I think that's what the DS stands for. You know, it might as well. You know, people are so vague and mysterious about it. Nintendo had to be fucking vague about it. They're like, well, it's the DS, and maybe it stands for dual screen, but maybe it stands for something else. It's like, whatever. This one is, you can tell, like, the Game Boy Advance SP influenced the design of the DS Lite. Obviously, there's no, like, mystery about it. They're so similar. They both have the folding clamshell design, where you basically, if you fold it like this, and the other one, so they both have a folding motion. One big difference between the two is the lighting for the the GBA SP. It stays colored green, so that indicates that the light is on, the system is on. But this one has a flashing freaking thing to it, kind of like if you, I don't know what you call it. If you have if it's on sleep mode, kind of like when you close a laptop. You know, so like when you close a laptop, it's sleeping and it's not active at the moment, but it's still turned on. It's got that flashing thing right there. Okay, so then let's. So we flip it back up. Same with the other one. You can already hear like the gameplay and shit. You can hear the sound effects and stuff. So both of these handhelds, in my opinion, are worth getting, but which one is better and which one is basically the superior handheld system. With the Game Boy Advance SP, it's obviously a smaller library just because it doesn't have the DS library, but it does have the Game Boy library, because back in the day you were able to play, well, you can still do it, but you can insert an original Game Boy in it. So this is an original Game Boy cartridge right here. Killer Instinct up in this mug. Awesome game. Hold on. Comes in these plastic cartridges, which I still have to this day. It's so cool. So this is basically what it used to be back in the day. This was the on the original Game Boy, you would insert this, but you can also put it in here, of course, and it would jut out a little bit more because it's a little bit bigger than a Game Boy Advance game. So this is an original Game Boy game. It's a couple of inches in height, and they're about the same width as the Game Boy Advance cartridge. But you can see obviously right here, you got Mega Man 03 at the right side from Capcom. You got Killer Instinct at the left side. Original Game Boy game, Game Boy Advance game from the early 2000s. So this is a 90s game, mid-90s, early 2000s. Big difference obviously between the two. And only this game is compatible with the Game Boy Advance SP. You can't play it on the original Game Boy, obviously. This one you can play on the SP as well. However, this you can also play on the DS Lite. The DS Lite is backwards compatible. It has an opening here, a little thing, what do you call it, a slot at the bottom. You can take it out like this. It has this this covering on it, but you can take it out, and in there you can put a Game Boy Advance cartridge in there, and it kind of sticks out. It's very similar to how the original Game Boy game sticks out from the Game Boy Advance SP. And it's just a little like retarded, like Nintendo's way of like backwards compatibility, you know. It's not quite convenient because obviously it juts out like a freaking like somebody's head stuck in the popping out of the sand. You know, their whole body's covered in sand, but their head's popping out, kind of thing. So it's kind of annoying that way. But it's also annoying with the Game Boy Advance SP because it sticks out. The stupid cartridge like this, the original Game Boy cartridge sticks out like this. And as far as the Game Boy Advance games, the GBA games, they also stick out from the DS Lite, kind of like this, which is, of course, stupid. Because if you're putting it in your pocket, it's supposed to be convenient, right? It's supposed to be very easy and convenient to put in your pocket. But that's not exactly the case with either system when they're both doing a backward compatible with this and with original Game Boy games and GBA games with a DS Lite. So they both work as far as backwards compatible, but only by one generation, and that's just the way Nintendo does it. They only go back one generation as far as BC, which I think is it's very limiting. You cannot play original Game Boy games on the DS Lite. So this game, Killer Instinct, is not compatible with this fucking system. With a DS Lite, it just doesn't work, which sucks. You know what I'm saying? That's bad, I think. I've never actually played the Killer Instinct on. I've never tried to put it in because, I mean, my God, you just never know. But it's not compatible. It's just not. I don't think it is. So as far as the backlight, both systems got pretty good backlight. This one, you can toggle two different ones, dark and brighter. So it's just two of them. This one is a little bit more varied, but you can't fucking change the backlight here on the regular menu. So you have to actually shut it down or turn it off or whatever. You got to turn off the DS Lite, turn it back on. This is why I hate about the parts that I hate about the DS Lite. One of the things that I can't stand about it is that there's so much rebooting you got to do. You got to always turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. It's always constant with that, especially if you play other games like a Pokemon or something like that. But as far as so this is the backlight. You got this bottom left logo here, and you click it. You press A, Well, I guess you can also click it. You should be able to tap it, right? No? With the stupid, the gimmick that they have. It's funny, they don't use the stupid stylus gimmick here. Oh, yeah, they do. There you go. What the hell? There you go. So the stylus also works on the main menu. I knew it did. It's just I don't know why the hell it didn't do it with my finger. The finger should also work. Damn it. I fucking hate this touchscreen bullshit. It's such a gimmick, man. It fucking sucks. Like in some games it works, but... And that's another gimmick thing. That's another piece of gimmick that obviously the GBA doesn't have. The GBA is a more basic, more early handheld. You know, it's more primitive, so it doesn't have as much features as the DS Lite. The DS Lite has the goddamn stylus, so it's got touchscreen, so you can actually click on the stupid thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 different backlights. The first 2 I think is way too fucking dark, but it's good for conserving energy. But I don't really use that. But the last 2, 3, and 4, 3 is pretty good. It's not too bright, and 4 can be pretty bright, especially at night and stuff. But that's fine. And you can also change, you know, the clock, the time and shit like that. Would you like to turn the alarm on? No. You can change the time and shit. Where's the time? Yeah, the dates and the time setting and stuff like that. Kind of like a PSP. Cancel. All that bullshit. You want to go back. I want to fucking quit. This stupid system has to shut down. This is a mandatory thing. The system will now shut down. It does this every fucking time. When you change anything on the DS, like time settings and stuff, it always has to shut down, yeah. It's so stupid. You don't gotta do that with the PSP or any of that other shit. Like, imagine if you gotta always turn off your PSP or something. Or even like your laptop. Oh, you gotta change the time on your laptop. You gotta turn it off. Turn it back on. Unbelievable. It's so stupid. That's what I hate about the DS Lite. It's so fucking retarded. It's so dumb and fucking retarded. Nintendo forcing you to turn off the stupid system every time that you gotta change the time and settings and stuff. This is a pretty good game, this 101 shit. Maybe I'll do a full review on it. Atlas, baby! Atlas! Nord Current. I've never heard of this company. Nord Current. Let's continue this. Alright, so there's a bunch of games in here. This is the one that I was talking about in the... I think I did a Q&A. I was talking about... what the hell was it called? That hyperspace game. Yeah, that one. This game fucking rocks. My record is 60,000. This shit is so fun. Ah, crap. Hopefully, I think you guys can see it at the main... At the screen. Because, you know, obviously I don't have the highest quality camera. I'm using a shitty webcam and stuff. And my laptop is pretty goddamn old. You know, this laptop is for like 2007 or something, or 2009 or some shit. This is a really fun thing. You know, the hyperspace, I can't stop playing it. And then, okay, so obviously another huge difference is the dual screen on the fucking DS Lite. This one only has one screen. I like the control layout here on the DS Lite a lot better. It's very wide, just like the original Game Boy Advance. You know, the one that is kind of a wider presentation like this. I love it because it feels more spacey. It's more spaced out. It's more ergonomically. It feels better in terms of controls. With the stupid GBA SP, obviously it's a lot more narrow, and that's annoying as fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot more irritating because you gotta... You know, you gotta be like a little kid or something. You gotta be like a little toddler to enjoy it with your hands. I don't know. It feels too narrow. A lot more narrow and a lot more claustrophobic, for lack of a better word. I mean, it works. You know, it's not like it kills the gameplay for most of the games. It's fine, but for something like even like a Killer Instinct, it's fucking very difficult to play it to the fullest because it's very tight, and you know, doing the controls and doing the combos and stuff like that is tedious as hell. It feels way too narrow. It feels too shitty, it really does affect the gameplay. It really affects the controls in certain fighting games, especially because you gotta do motion, quarter circle bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Half circle, quarter circle, holding back and pressing forward. You got charge moves and stuff like that. And I love fighting games. It's my favorite genre, and it's probably my favorite genre of all time. But so it's a little bit more retarded with this fucking GBA SP. It's more tedious. It's more cumbersome. It's more just annoying. It's too claustrophobic, I think. But with other games like Pokemon and stuff like that, it's fine. Like a platforming game, it's fine. Most games are fine as far as the controls is concerned. So that's cool, The GBA SP is a great system. It's got a lot of really cool games and stuff. So the DS Lite, on the other hand, the DS Lite, and I don't think this has a fighting game in it. It's basically just mini games. Let's go back to this hyperspace. I fucking love this. Look at this shit. Best mini game for the DS Lite. I love this fucking. This is the only thing I play on this Mega Mix. Otherwise, it's not a particularly good mix of mini games, except for this. This is the only thing that's good about it. I fucking look at it. Look how awesome this shit is. Dope. And again, look how wide my hands are. The space between is great. Let's take a look at some other games too. Let's see. Can also use. See, one fucking thing I hate is the stupid touchscreen is useless. I'm trying to use my frickin' my finger. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. You gotta really point at it with your finger. You gotta use your pointy fingernail instead of doing it on a flat like this. It has to be like this, like you're poking at it with your actual fingernail, as opposed to I gotta swipe it with my fucking thumbprint or my index, whatever, pointy finger. Fucking print. Like this. You can't do it flat like this, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's see some other games in here. Hold on. Let me turn off because the fucking audio is kind of distracting with the GBA. Try something a little bit different. Hold on, let me see. Try to find something pretty fun. You can hear the music too. Yeah, it's always the same music with this game too. It's always the same repetitive music. Let's go with some other horseshit game. I don't even know. Trying to find something cool. Most of the games here suck so bad. Most of them are just forgettable garbage. But Hyperspace is the fun one. That's a really good one. I think there's also another one. The snakes or serpent or whatever. Serpentine. This was Serpent. This one's pretty hard. Yeah, it's basically, we've seen this game a million times on, computers and stuff. It's basically just a snake, And you can press the analog, what the fuck, the D-pad. Click the D-pad on the left side. Very convenient, very easy. I don't even have to use the X, B, Y, and all that shit. So it gets a little bit faster, of course. The snake starts to get faster and longer. So it's a lot more difficult to keep up. Because, it starts to speed up quite a bit. The speed gets really, really quick. Oh, shit. Here we go. Come on, you serpent son of a bitch. Yeah. And for some reason, this snake is eating fruit. Somehow. That makes a lot of sense, right? It makes perfect sense. I've never seen Snake become a vegetarian. That's a new one to me. Throughout history, you would think that the developers would know that snakes don't eat fruit or vegetables. They fucking swallow live animals whole and inject venom in them, some of them anyway, and they constrict them or they bite them. Uh-oh, it's getting faster. It's getting faster. You gotta get it really quickly. But so anyway, you can hear the music and stuff. It's pretty basic music. But it's very there you go. I just fucking lost. It's quite audible. You know what I'm saying? You got the two speakers over here But with the GBA SP, there's only one speaker here, right in the middle. So I think this one's a lot more audible than this one, than the GBA SP. This one you can hear a lot better. Now you can hear it better. This one is, hold on, toggle the volume down. With the stupid GBA SP, it's a lot more. Yeah, you can barely hear it. You can barely hear it. I can't even. Yeah, it's almost like a quiet whisper in comparison to the DS Lite in terms of audio, in terms of projecting music and stuff. I think that this one has better audio music projection because it has two speakers. So obviously it wins. This one is a little bit more quiet, not as loud, not as impressive sounding. Well, you know, you can hear it. You can still hear it a little bit, but you know, it's not as loud. It's not as good, basically. So overall, which is the better handheld system? You can play any GBA game on here, on the DS Lite, so you would think that this is automatically better than this, especially having the controls that it has. But as far as backwards compatibility and stuff like that, I mean, the GBA SP also has the original Game Boy lineup, games like A Killer Instinct, which is an awesome game, and other titles like that. But I can understand not everybody wants to play, what do you call it, black and white games. Not everybody wants to play original Game Boy games on any of the systems, you know, because it's original Game Boy. It's black and white. It looks very archaic. Even though the gameplay can still be really good, it just looks very basic. It's black and white. No, but not a lot of people play black and white games. That's just the reality of the world, especially in 2016 when you got a ton of color games like this, Backlight and all that stuff. So on the other hand, the DS Lite has a great library in and of itself. The DS library is tremendous. A lot of great games available. Well, maybe not a ton of them, but there's a lot of good exclusives on the DS Lite. Same with the GBA SP. It's got a solid library too, very similar. This has like Pokemon games and shit like that. The DS Lite has Pokemon titles. This one also has Pokemon titles. But you can play fucking just about any GBA games on the DS Lite. I prefer this better, this wider layout, obviously. I think that putting it in your pocket, it is more convenient to put the GBA SP in your pocket, kind of like a small wallet. You know, it's wallet size. This one is a bit more wide, obviously. This one's about 5 inches in width. This one is only about 3 inches, something like that. You know, maybe about 3 inches in width. As far as its dimensions, I would actually say that the GBA SP is a little bit thicker. Not as thick as the DS Lite is not as thick as the GBA SP. Just a little bit, just a very slightly. I think that maybe it's about the same. No, I would say, yeah, I would say the GBA SP is just a little bit thicker than the frickin' the DS Lite, but it's comparable enough. It's, you know, it's relatively similar. Also, one cool thing about the another thing before I forget was in the DS Lite you're able to plug headphones to the DS Lite, so you're able to actually plug any kind of variety headphone, any sort of regular headphone you can buy from the store, the one that you would plug into your laptop, for example, or a CD player back in the days, or, you know, that kind of thing. Maybe an iPod, something like that. As far as this, you can't plug in just any basic headphone in it. You gotta have its own. It has its own exclusive Nintendo Game Boy Advance headphone that you gotta insert at the back over here. Yeah, you gotta plug it in over there. So that sucks. And that's garbage because the original Game Boy didn't have that. The original Game Boy had the same basic headphone slot as the DS Lite. So, you know what I'm saying? For them to take that away for the GBA SP, it sucks, but... So I think this has also that advantage. You can play it at night. You don't gotta bother people. Or, you want the audio in your ears a lot more closer to your ears when you put on the headphones. So this, I think, also has that advantage. As far as the gimmicks, I think the touchscreen is mostly stupid and pointless and retarded. I don't really like it that well. I don't like it that much. This one has fewer gimmicks. This is more out of convenience, I think. The Game Boy Advance SP is just a convenient system for the most part, especially the backlight, which the original GBA didn't have. This one, I think, is more about having a slimmer model than the Nintendo DS, than the fatter DS. And it's still a solid system, though. I think that both of them have a charger. They both come with their own chargers. So this one has a charger, this one has a charger. You got to charge both of them. They're basically battery charged systems. So you got to have the fucking charger. Otherwise, it's not you can't just put a AA batteries at the back. It's got to be the specific batteries for each system. The DS Lite battery and the Game Boy Advance battery, a GBA SP battery. If I had to choose between these two, just buy its amazing library because it's a newer system and its features are overall more desirable. I gotta give it to the Nintendo DS Lite. This is a better handheld system than the GBA SP, but just by a little bit, because it can play any of the GBA games. It has the great DS library that it has available, and it's got all these other features like a wider controller layout, and it's got the headphone jack, and it has the better speakers from what I've experienced so far. So the DS Lite, I think, is just an overall stronger, better purchase. This is the better fucking handheld. So this is the winner, baby. DS Lite. Yeah! Alright, so that's it for this episode of The Review Space. Both handhelds, I think, are worth copping, worth checking out, but they're both relatively decent price nowadays. You can find both of them online or Craigslist or something like that used for... This one's probably would fetch around $40 or so. If you can find it even cheaper, maybe $20 if you're fucking lucky. And the GBA SP is a lot more cheaper too. It's just probably about $20, something like that, depending on the kind of bundle that you want to get. Maybe around $20, maybe even cheaper than that. So both are definitely worth checking out, but I would go with this one. The DS Lite, I think, just has a better, more modern library, even though both systems are relatively old at this point. Both handhelds are relatively old. This one is well over a decade old now, and this one is like from the early mid-2000s, like 2003 with this one. So this one's even older than the DS Lite, obviously, but both decent, both pretty good still to this day, but the DS Lite is my choice, and the winner, and the king of the Nintendo handheld wars so far. Alright, so that's it for this episode of The Review Space. Check out the channel for more videos, reviews, top 10s, subscribe to the channel, and all that good stuff, and until next time, peace.